Hey folks, welcome to Friendly Orbit, the podcast that draws us together no matter how far we fly. I'm Ceres, free for part 3, and I'm joined this week by...
The king of life today, Thea. What's my name? It's Thea. Yeah, my brain is dying too.
I think I'm going to have to edit that intro very slightly.
Let's restart
No,
this.
we're good. Shut up.
Let's restart.
Slight editing job, and that is all we need. Hi guys.
If you're hearing these words, then Thea, then Ceres is a fucking liar, and he just likes the bit where you say, "I'm gonna edit this out," and then it's in the episode. Anyway, hello listeners.
We're playing Microscope. Tell us about Microscope, Thea. Is it a fun game?
I don't know, but on the last episode, someone plugged it, so it must be.
Must be fun.
Must be fun.
We were in the process of inventing our fantasy, time-spanning, technologically advancing megafauna monster hunter world setting with gods that are physically incarnated in giant beasts that roam the land and influence and shape the conscious lives of the little teeny tiny people who live in this setting and borrow their powers from the gods. We made a bunch of stuff. We made a bunch of ages, and we filled them with stuff. If you want to know everything that's happened, just listen to the episodes up until now. And or you can check out our spreadsheet, our Microscope spreadsheet, which has everything summarized in it. Did I miss anything?
No. I think it's hard to recapitulate everything that we've done by now. But the main gist is that there are the few people, which are the four eyes
wise people who turn out to be not so wise.
Yeah, exactly. They made all the mistakes. They created life of their own, myconids, which end up being an imperialist force for basically genocide. Then the few people gave it a chance to imperialism themselves. They were destroyed and crushed by an alliance, including the myconids and the bug people. And eventually died out. And then we had the great era of exploration, which started with we had the Crimson Rivers.
Yes.
Which destroyed a whole bunch of the world.
Planet.
Exactly. And then eventually we have a black comet striking the ground, setting it on fire, and bring a new alien god to the planet, leading into the age of floating cities, where life sentient life moved to floating structures to float above the burning land. And we know that the land burned for a century. And then after that, there's going to be an age of fracturing. And that's as far as we go.
Exactly. And our next round, our next focus is you, Thea, and you said it was going to be gods and their rivalries.
Gods and their rivalries. Let's flesh some of these gods out. Pew, pew, pew.
Let's do it.
Ignition sequence start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff.
Okay. It's your turn to do a focus.
Yeah. Okay. This focus is called Gods and Their Rivalries. So we're going to focus about the gods. I'm going to say that I will, for once, not use my lens powers to create two things at the same time, because I want to make an event, but I don't want it to be I don't want to make a scene attached to it. And it will be the big lizard king.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? No reference. Not talking about anyone specifically.
Mm-hmm.
The big lizard king killed the what's a good friend to the slug mom, to the great slug.
Who do slugs like to work with? Vegetation.
Yeah.
It could be some kind of plant. plant monarch,
Yeah.
some kind of tree being. Also, though, it could be, I mean, what if there's like a little wormy parasites that attack the slug queen, and there's like some kind of insect something that can destroy the parasites? Or
Yeah, but we
like,
have bugs already. Yeah. Okay. So, the big lizard king killed the queen of Poland, ally of the Zla queen, and cast the Zla queen out of the heart of the jungle. And this is an event of the dawn of consciousness before the Fupe people arise.
okay.
And that's it.
Then I think in the age of fracturing,
Mm-hmm.
the big lizard king returns
Mm-hmm.
and faces off against a coalition of new gods. So in the age of, it seems like somehow a bunch of new gods were discovered in a short period of time, and they kind of all have similar interests.
Mm-hmm.
And when the Lizard King comes to our corner of the world in the Age of Fracturing, we have a big kaiju battle with one big kaiju and lots of little kaijus. And I get to create another event about the gods and their rivalries. So I think this needs to be in the Myconid era for sure. Where should it be? The Slug Mom's tears revive some altered form of the pollen queen in the eternal waters of life, or whatever I call them, in the springs of life. So I didn't introduce any new ones really. I just kind of riffed off of your ones.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna do something radical.
Do it.
The pollen queen, reawoken as the spores queen, takes the myconids under her wing.
Yeah, that was implied.
Oh, never mind.
I'm very glad you picked up what I was putting down, but that was implied. Yes.
Okay. And I'm going to take a scene. Spores queen begs Gil not to push the boundaries of his power after liberating beyond liberating the Myconids. Yeah, I think the Myconid era is a lot clearer now. And this is a scene. How do I?
I'll make it. I'll do it.
What's
I'll
the
make it
color?
blue for you.
Okay. Yeah, I was looking between the colors. Okay. Okay.
Well,
yeah, this was quick.
Boy.
Yeah. Legacy
That
time. It's your turn.
I like making up random god shit. So that's my legacy. My legacy is gonna be I'm gonna add another god.
Wait, I'm gonna take up your legacy, your old legacy then. The legacy of the Fupe. I'm gonna save that. And we're gonna put magic system in discarded legacies.
In the era of exploration, I'm gonna add before the extinction event the I want to make a cool, interesting combination of animals. Because I don't want to just be like, oh, this thing in biology, what if it was a god? Right? I want to like fuck with them. I want to make them a little bit stranger. The fire spider scorpion obsidian god is born when the springs of life intermix with the heart blood of the world. And she is mad. All right. I think this explains why the Crimson Rivers came about.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, definitely sounds like it.
Because I think I want to play in the era of exploration. And so I'm thinking about the gods we would have in the era of exploration, right? And I'm like,
Mhm.
all right, we would have the slug god. That's a cool idea. We have the spore queen. She's got a cool lore, right? And I'm like, I want like a really aggressive god. I don't think people can really worship the big lizard king because he's in the heart of the jungle. He's gone. People don't even know he exists. So if you're aggressive, if you want to do some good killing, some good firing, then the fire spider scorpion obsidian god is your go-to lady. She's got you covered. One-stop shop for all things violent.
All right. Cool. We have finished another round. You're the lens. Give me a
Principles time?
focus.
Do we have a principle we want to do here?
Since we had a god dying,
Mm.
do we want to talk about like death and birth of a god?
Okay. I mean, what I would say is when gods die, their magic goes away.
Yep, that's true.
Um,
A god can clearly be reborn, because that's what happened to the
Yeah.
Queen of Pollen.
gods are born from, like, true gods, I think, are like born from the elements. Like, I don't think Big Lizard King has a baby with Slug Queen and then like we have Slug Lizard God.
No, definitely not. But like, how does a new god arise?
I think mainly, honestly, from the perspective of the people of this world, the way a god arises is they show up. You know what I mean? Like, they just walk in off of the edge of the map, right? Like, imagine
Yeah.
you were an ant living on somebody's desk and somebody asked you how do birds arrive? You'd be like, I don't know, out of the sky.
Sure.
Just,
I mean,
you
if
know
we
what I
take
mean?
an evolutionary perspective to it, like it would be like a god's like followers become so many that like at some point like a new god arises from like whichever subgroup of them is like the most different from the original god, right? Like if you have enough bug people and they specialize enough, eventually a wasp god might be born if there's enough wasps.
I don't know. I mean, if bonding gods is what makes you change, then I think wasp people will never show up unless a wasp god shows up. And, a wasp god might show up, but she might not. She might
Yeah.
fly in to the valley, she might not fly into the valley.
Yeah, but like we have the idea that like our bug people are actually precursors to many different bug people. So like, is the Queen of Keratin making like, is our bug like can the Queen of Keratin make bug people to be like, you're gonna be a scarab and you're gonna be a wasp and you're gonna be an ant, or
Yes,
is it like
I think
there's
she
one?
can do that.
Yeah, okay.
I think that's possible, but I think what might be interesting, right, is if we do keep it that you need to have a god in order to change like fully, because like it feels to me like as time goes on we learn to attract gods because there's a coalition of new gods, so a whole bunch of new gods show up at some point before the age of fracturing, right? And that sounds to me like we learn to draw them to us and then to bond them more efficiently, right? And in the beginning it's just like, oh, whoever shows up is whoever shows up, right?
Yeah.
And then by the
I
end,
mean, it could
like,
literally be like every X time, like from the bowels of the planet, like a clump of divinity arises from the center, and then like whichever creature, and then like it kind of like morphs into a creature, and then it starts adapting to like its environment around itself, or it adapts
because
to
I
the
mean, like
environment around.
they live for so long, right? That like their evolutionary timescale, though it may exist, is completely incomprehensible to our setting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like for the slug queen to become the snail queen, right? you would need like I don't know how many generations of evolution, right?
Well, but we have
Which
a
means
pretty
that-
quick process of the spore of the queen of pollen turning into the queen of spores.
Yeah, but that's because she got murdered and revived in the magical MacGuffin water, right? I mean, that's like not the same, right? She didn't evolve. She just when she came back different, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I feel like, and that's why she's so associated with death, right? It's because she died and then she came back different. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if we had to write down a principle about the gods, we could write like gods arise from the planet and live incredibly long times and have like their own evolutionary scale that's not really comprehensible,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Sure.
Or maybe just gods arise from the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a good principle?
Yeah. Gods arise from the planet. They're not made or born biologically from other gods.
All right, my turn to do a focus. I really like that last one, gods and their rivalries. I kind of want to do something similar. So, the ecosystem is our current focus.
Okay.
I want to know like what this place looks like. I want to know. I want to know. I want to know what this place looks like. I want to know what other big gods there are. I want to know what little things there are. I want to know about the animals. In order to do this, I get to set an event now and a scene.
Mm-hmm.
My event will be. Well, this is one I just definitely wanted to do, and it is related to the focus. So, in the age of floating cities, sentient peoples learn to harness or learn to attract gods from far off places in order to study and bond them better. So people start to learn ecology, basically.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You're gonna put a scene in there?
Am I going to put a scene? Should I put a scene in there?
Not necessarily. You choose.
Let's do a quick scene. The quick scene
You
is
can
the convergence of the new gods. A moment where like 100 new gods were drawn to a big crater for the first time. And I will play.
Oh, you want to actually play it?
Yeah, but we're going to play it quickly. I will play Sploop, head of interlineage research questions. And you will play. Who do you want to be? I'm imagining like a confederation of like lineages working together, each on our floating cities. We're scientists. I'll be the one who's like, show me what you found. And you'll be like, found this.
I see.
And I'll be like, holy shit.
Yeah. That's you sound just like my boss every single time I show him something.
Sounds like you're getting promoted. Or fired, honestly.
Holy shit. How did you fuck it up so badly?
Exactly. Just be like, Thea, this is harassment. Holy shit.
Holy shit, I didn't think that AI art could do that. Yeah, I am going to play so you want to be the head interlineage question? I maybe instead of a scientist, can I be like an explorer that found something?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna be like a flying bug person. I'm gonna be a dragonfly. Fleeby the dragonfly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Fleabee, what'd you find?
Oh, it was incredible! I was flying out there with my squadron in the sky, soaring through the clouds. What a sight! Ugh, what is happening to our land looks so insignificant from up there. It is such a spectacle.
Did you observe the experiment that I paid so much money for? God, that experiment cost a lot of money.
I have 360-degree vision thanks to my eyes. Of course! I've seen all the things at the same time.
I appreciate you for your lineage abilities and do not hegemonically associate within one lineage as a society. Instead, I believe we all share our talents as well.
Yes. Of course. Of course, you would say that. Wink.
Yeah, exactly.
The woke mind virus. Yes, the experiment. The experiment has been successful.
How many gods did we lure? 2? 3? This will be a huge leap forward.
Our instruments suggested 5 new gods. It's incredible.
5. Wow, that's a lot. It's a lot less than 100, which is what somebody wrote on this card, so I'm really excited to see where the rest of the scene goes.
I didn't think that all 100 would be drawn at the same time.
That makes sense. That's less epic, though.
Oh my god! Oh my god! The divine thing is vibrating.
Oh goodness, the meter! It's going up so fast.
The godstones are vibrating again. Quick! Put them in the divine abacus. I put them in the divine abacus. Oh my god, the beads. The beads are moving. So many beads.
Is this 100? This can't be. This must be a measurement error. Somebody get me the head of science stat.
No, you're correct. It's not 100. It's 98.
Oh, I'm the head of science. It's 98.
That's what I said.
Perfect scene. Flawless. 10 out of 10. No notes.
Yeah. But
all right, those are my two things.
I had one more thing to say.
Oh, sorry. Tell me, Fleabee, what is it?
The big lizard king.
Uh-huh.
We have spotted him. He was looking at us. He did not look pleased.
Oh shit.
I'm not happy about. I'm not have a good feeling about what these fires, what the land is doing to him.
Oh no, I have a bad feeling about this too. I wonder if the age of fracturing will reveal our hubris. All right.
Perfect.
Those are my 2 items that are now on the board. Do you want to add your 2?
Yes. I would say that alien lithophages, which are like colossal burrowing creatures from the Black Comet, devour, carve a new underground ecosystem while eroding the integrity of the
You're setting the stage for the age of fracturing.
Yeah, maybe if there was a really big guy who did could get a really big hit to a brittle planet. Yeah. New dark gods emerge in these depths.
That's pretty cool, though. I like dark gods.
Yeah. New things are awoken in the darkness. And
which era do you think we're going to play in?
I think the best eras to play in, again, are like Birth of Great Cities, if you want to do like sword and sorcery, kind of like war. And
yeah, I feel like it's interesting. The Birth of Great Cities era has almost no god activity, and I think that's interesting, and maybe we should keep it that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then like the era of exploration is kind of balanced, and then the Age of Floating Cities is like all tech, all gods, all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I feel like we should play in the era of exploration, which means I feel like if I can, I want to incentivize you to put stuff before that.
Yeah, I was looking at the age of exploration. So the current focus is the ecosystem. Uh, yeah, I'm gonna say that uh, after the Crimson River destroyed a whole bunch of the world, but in very localized ways.
Mm.
Isolation drives increased specialization of sentient lineages.
Oh, nice.
So maybe this is the time where we will get, like the bug people. We're starting to get like a more isolated mountain bug people, and they're like bigger and like they start growing fur again. Kind of like a moth.
So here's the one thing is that doesn't really have so much to do with the ecosystem.
Yeah, it does. Isolation, specialization. But yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I see what...
yeah, but I mean, I was talking about the ecosystem like outside the people, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like the whole planet is an ecosystem.
Yeah.
And I think that idea is cool, and you can leave it there.
No,
Time
do
only. I'll give you a freebie. You can leave it there, but you got to come up with a different one that actually fits the ecosystem.
You just like me adding more stuff to the area of exploration.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Well, humans started to fly because of the Great Storm Bird, and part of that was because of the Crimson Rivers. So I'm gonna say obsidian firebugs soar into the skies as well. So the fire, spider, scorpion, obsidian god is like, oh, you think you're safe in the air? Well, check out these new animals I made.
Yeah. And they're not sentient, right? They're not bug people.
No, like bugs or like, yeah.
Cool. All right, those are your 2/3.
Yes.
So I get 2 more, and they have to be nested again.
If you want to do 2, yeah.
Do you feel like I should maybe just make an era and call it the time before, and then we can just write things in it about how the ecosystem just is at a baseline?
No, it's not how the game works. You can't make it before the dawn of consciousness. The dawn of consciousness is our starting era. If you want to do something
so
like that, you can put in the principles.
Just before the big lizard king killed the Queen of Pollen.
I mean, is that an event? Because that should be an event. Otherwise, you can just put in the principles.
Yeah, but just principles, plants grow this high and they look like this, right? Isn't that going to be boring?
Hey man, if you want it to be a part of this world, then put it in the principles. It's okay if we have a boring principle.
Well, but the thing is, right, that like the rest of it doesn't really serve the same purpose as the rest of the principles, right? Like, don't you get that vibe that it's like you're putting 2 things in one box that are different from one another? Like a detailed description of the environment. These aren't narrative or metaphysical principles that are true for the entire setting.
I mean, no settlement. The fact that trees are the size of mountains is a pretty boring principle, but it's important.
Yeah, but I mean, it's also about the size of settlements and stuff like that. I don't know. I feel like it's not really a principle to say, oh, plants look like this or whatever.
I don't know. Do we have to put this in the timeline? Like, can we just like? I mean, we will refine this setting anyways.
Yeah, that's true too. I'm gonna do something here. I'm gonna put something in the age of exploration. I'm gonna put the extinction event gives rise to new flora and fauna with a focus on less trees and forests and more crystals and reef-like structures. All right. I did a description of the environment and I put it in the age of exploration because it's tied specifically to the extinction event that precedes it. How do you like them apples? I said that in the era of exploration, after the Crimson Rivers destroy everything, this extinction event gives rise to new flora and fauna with a focus on less trees and forests and more crystals and reef-like structures. I would
Very
like
high
it.
fantasy of you.
I think it'd be cool if each era had kind of its own distinct visual, right? And like the Myconid era has its visual, the Black Comet Strike era has its visual, Dawn of Consciousness doesn't really, and the Birth of Great Cities could be like tree core in order to sort of, or I don't know, because we talk about trees a lot in this era. But you know what I mean? Like if each era had sort of slightly a different look, becoming more diverse and interesting over time, I think that would be cool.
Yeah.
Okay. And now I could
End of
add
the
a
focus.
scene.
Oh yeah.
And I think I will. It has to be a nested scene. So this scene is a coral-looking mountain grows very, very slowly. Cool. That's a pretty good scene, right? I like that scene.
Yes. Lots of
Do
characters.
you want to play the coral or should I play the ground?
I'm already playing the coral. You haven't even seen. That's how well I blend into the character.
Okay, all right. I'm done. Legacies, your turn to make a legacy.
Legacies, my turn. Yeah. I'm going to say we've kind of already been hinting at it, and I don't know if we'll ever have a focus to make it that clear. But I'm gonna take your legacy of making up random god shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna say that the Lizard King didn't shatter the world. The new gods is rashly a word to say do something in a rash?
Yeah.
Rashly kill the lizard, the big Lizard King.
Who's the last thing holding the world together? No.
Whose death unleashes an explosion that shatters the world.
So he was.
Actually, you know what? This is not an event. This is a scene that belongs to the event about.
I will give you the scene color.
Thank you. Yeah.
Do you want to play the Lizard King or should I play the explosion?
No, this is not a scene that we play out.
Fuck! Why do we do that? Shit! No.
Yeah.
Goodbye, cruel world. All of the floating cities are becoming little asteroids. Isn't that interesting and cool?
Each city, every fragment of the world has a couple of cities attached to it.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. It's like moons. I'm dying. All right. What's the focus for the next round? I feel like we're honing in on the end here of this game.
I must say, I'm not proud of how linear this game has been.
Mm.
We have very much built out the timeline. Like, we knew where we were going, but we always kind of like fleshed out from the beginning to the end. I'm not proud of that.
You would have preferred if we'd fleshed out from the end or something, or just done it more randomly?
Well, yeah, I've done it more randomly. This is the game is supposed to be played, but it's okay.
Well, I mean, the thing is, right? I mean, like, it's hard to come up with something just like in a vacuum, right?
Yeah.
You want, like, you and I especially like things to be connected and for there to be some kind of overarching trend, right?
Mhm.
And it's much easier to go, well, with these principles, what would happen, rather than to go, this happens, now let's make up the principles.
Yeah. Space Magitech. That's the focus.
I don't think that's going to do anything for the era of exploration.
Oh, come on. We already have like so many points in the era of exploration.
So what I think is cool about the era of exploration right now is that we have 5 major gods, and they each seem to represent pretty different things, and I think that's pretty cool. We have a spore god of life and death. We have a slug god of transformation and versatility. We have a spider scorpion fire god that's like death and destruction and anger. And then we have like a flying stormbird sky god, which is like, all about like probably freedom and flying and stuff. And then we have this really this like really tool oriented, groupish oriented keratin goddess. And like putting all of that together, that seems like a pretty succinct pantheon, right? That's like 5. We have 5 cool gods. We have a fairly in-depth history. We have an environment. We have people spread apart. We have an age of exploration. Yeah, I feel pretty good about it.
Yeah. So, you know what else would make for a cool setting? A bunch of planetoids forming a belt around the sun, each one with their cities and gods.
All right. Well, we haven't written very much about the apex of the abyss, so I expect stuff like that will happen here. But it's your turn. You got to put down your 2 stuff.
Yeah. So Space Magitech. I'm gonna throw you a bone. And I'm gonna add an event in the Age of Exploration. And say that a race to space exploration begins. Well, not space, but like, space exploration begins. So, like, it wasn't the shattering with the Age of Fracturing is when we went to space because we're forced to. But the Age of Exploration is when we were like, what about up?
Interesting.
An Age of Space Exploration begins. And but the specific event is a keratin craft source through a.
Is this really what you want to use both of yours on? Because you have to nest it now.
Yes, I do. A keratin craft.
Okay.
Flies into orbit thanks to a dual bond with the Stormbird. This was achievement of collaboration. Keratin and Stormbird.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and there's going to be a scene in here, but in the interest of time, we're not going to play it out. But the cosmonauts observe a dark object approaching. Void a object. All right. Cosmonauts observe a dark object approaching from the void. The object enters their mind and wipes their memory before they can alert. So,
Damn.
the black comet.
All right. I have two that I want to do. The first is also in the age of exploration. This is integration of societies across lineages leads to the exchange and discovery of many new technological advances. So I think, like, after we split everything up and we burn everything down after the last extinction event, we kind of mix all the societies together a bit, and we get a lot of new advances. And then my second event, and this is in the age of exploration, my second event is going to be in the age of fracturing, which is cloning technology with the very closely bonded Skybird allows for a host of Skybird gods to... should I do this? Actually, this is maybe... we're too much in control then. Okay. Never mind. Our beacons that draw gods, they draw space gods now. And all new space tech based on those new bonds is developed. Like, there's like a space manta ray god, for example. And we get cool laser gun tech from their tail. So those are my two. An age of collaboration, or a spirit of collaboration early in the era of exploration drives technological advancement, and many years later, now that we're floating out in space, each asteroid planet has a few cities on it. Our beacons, now that we have a much larger orbit, start drawing space gods. Oh no! Thea, is the apex of the abyss a space god? Who knows?
Who knows?
All right. You have two. You may set two events.
All I know is that, like, having an exoskeleton is already a pretty big advantage in space to protect yourself.
Oh my god! Well, we said there's not actual space. Remember?
Yeah, there's not actual space, but like, there's got to be something weird outside, right?
Sure, but maybe being lightweight and flying well is more important than an exoskeleton.
Maybe it is. But what if the Keratin Queen? What if
Plus,
instead of
societies are integrated now?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But what if instead of binding a immortal binding a god bounded a god?
What? It doesn't make any sense.
Gods merging.
Do you want to do this? I can imagine two gods merging, but I can't imagine.
Not like binding it like the way that mortals do it.
Yeah.
But what if what if there was an end to the bug people as we know them? As the Keratin Queen binds a space god, merging into a new god, new Keratin, new space friendly Keratin magic leads to materials, weapons, and vehicles for space survival, I will say.
Cool.
So yeah, we have a new the magic system evolves with the environment, and the Keratin Queen is no more.
The
And
Keratin
I'm
Queen
not
is
I'm
no
not gonna
more.
throw a scene there. It's okay.
You don't want to throw a scene where she dies?
Where she dies and is reborn. I'm good.
I'm more focused on the part where she dies.
She does die.
She does die. When will we finally be free of bug people? Answer: never. All right.
You knew what you were doing when you pitched this.
My turn to do a legacy.
Yeah.
I can do the legacy of the Fupe, or I can make up some random god shit. Random god shit is.
This is the second time, by the way, that we make an empire. We make the empire fall, and then we pick as a legacy the legacy of that empire as like a historically significant thing, kind of like the Roman
Yes.
Empire.
I'm gonna put in the Age of Fracturing. Actually, no, I'm gonna put this in the Final Age. What I already said before. The Apex is also a space god, and that dark comet was a fleeting baby egg.
Oh,
And mom is coming home to nurture her egg and eat you. Oops, shouldn't have made those god attractors.
yeah.
Who knew our technology would work out for a short time, but not for a long time?
Who
Do
knew?
we use that trope too often? Principle. All right, let's do a principle about what life looks like on this planet.
We have
like,
never
let's do a
brought up a
principle
mammal.
about like biology, because you said I should do a principle on biology. So let's do a principle on biology.
Yeah, I mean, we already said that biology doesn't abide by our rules of physiology.
Yes.
I mean, life is clearly a lot more mutable than it is here on our planet.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. Do you have anything?
Not really. We could
have a
just say
weird one.
something.
I have a weird one, and like I thought about it, and I thought it was cool, but then I thought this is a weird one.
Okay.
What if we play with the boundaries of like breeding between what different species or what we conceive as species?
Mm-hmm.
Like, like human and elves make half elves, and then according to in some versions, it's like the half elves they're sterile.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise you just get like a long gradient between human and elf.
Mm-hmm.
And like, can orcs and dwarf make half dwarf, half orcs and stuff like that? And like, what if the answer to that is like, if the vibes of the animals match, yes. Dwarf and cow, no. Dwarf and orc, yes.
Yeah, like what if we put in as a principle, this is riffing off of what you said, not exactly what you said, but what if the way that the bond works and turns sentient creatures more like into their creature that they worship? What if that's a general principle? Like if two gods, like you said, two gods find one another and it's usable for them, they can just merge together, right? It's like two animals that have lived together for even a short amount of time. If their interests align, they can just like symbiosis merge, and the bear and the wolf can become a wolf bear together. And that's just how biology works on this planet.
Can people do that?
Can people do that? No, people can't do that. You got to be big and cool and awesome and shit.
Okay.
You got to have a certain amount of surface area to absorb the magic rays of the magic sun, right? You need to have a certain amount of, like, I feel like in this setting, the smaller you are, the more you are like kind of like just a normal person, and the bigger and more majestic you are, the more you're like magical, right? That's why like the spider god has like onyx coming out of her, because she's just like kind of elemental, right? She's like fire and rock just comes out of her. So I feel like the bigger you are on this planet, the more elemental you are, the more magical you are. And the more of that elemental magic you have, the more you can just like merge with stuff. which is why those big creatures can make a bond to us little guys and we become like them. But like two medium creatures could also make a bond with one another and become like a dragon turtle or like, a sky octopus,
I like that.
All
The
right.
last thing you said. Yeah, I think it's cool.
All right. So then we're going to write as a principle, being bigger makes you more magical, or maybe the relationship is the other way around, but anyways, and having magic allows you to make a bond, and the bond changes people, ergo two medium-sized creatures, two mid-size gods, and then like gods in quotation marks. Well, actually not gods in quotation marks. Oh god, how do I say this? Ergo two small ergo even two small gods can just merge and become sky octopi.
Cool indeed. And I'm sorry, but I think that this is gonna be it.
Can I add one more thing?
What do you need to
add? Your sky god, the great stormbird.
Yeah?
Yeah, the great stormbird. Can it also be an octopus?
No.
Well, you like the sky octopus idea, and I like the sky octopus idea. What if the great stormbird is part octopus? It's still a bird.
I think the two vibes are way too off. I can't picture it in my head in a way that is like satisfying.
Oh, okay.
Can you?
I imagine. Okay, I'm imagining this. I'm imagining a giant octopus that crackles with electricity, that has feathers all along its limbs, and like its beak is out all the time, and so then like it just like flies through the air by moving its limbs. I just like covered it. It's got like these feathers and it makes it move, so it's got the beak out. But that's okay.
I guess I can see it. In a weird way, makes me think of a dinosaur. No, it's
that is a weird way to think of it. Yes. We don't have to. You don't. If you don't want to do it, we don't have to do it.
No, it's okay. The great octopus stormbird.
All right.
It's like when people first saw it, I was like, "What the fuck is that?"
I think it's pretty cool. Alrighty.
Yeah.
Do we want to do an overview?
Sure. Why don't you do it? I did it in the beginning of the episode.
Okay. Welcome to our world that we built with Microscope. It is a fantasy world. It features many different eras with different levels of technology and extinction events between them. Each era is its own ecosystem. The only thing that holds these eras together are the great gods, the megafauna of this world, which are so gigantic and so big and so awesome and full of magic and elemental power. And they can create bonds with conscious creatures. And conscious creatures in the setting are little teeny tiny things. In the dawn of consciousness, we get slug slime people, we get bug people, we get moss people in the Myconid era, we get fungus people in the Myconid era, and we get other people. And then there's a big great birth of great cities in which the gods aren't so active, but we have
apparently
a big war.
There's moss people, but they never did anything interesting.
They do interesting stuff. They just, were added to the timeline late in the game. There's an era of exploration where all the gods are now present and people are searching through the world and they no longer associate by lineage, and they're working together to like rediscover the whole world, which goes into the age of floating cities where everybody goes up into big rocks because the ground comet strikes and evil gods start showing up. And then we start learning ecology and attracting gods. And all of a sudden it's gods left and right, hundreds of gods, all these gods, everywhere gods. And then we fight the big lizard king with all of our gods. But when the big lizard king dies, the world explodes. And we become an asteroid belt where each planet fragment has a few floating cities around it and then has its own ecosystem. And eventually we draw in the apex of the abyss with our god channeling stuff. Well, first we draw in a bunch of other space gods and we do cool species hybridization stuff. But then comes in the apex of the abyss, and he eats us up. And we all are gone, except life goes on, because the apex of the abyss can poop, and seeds of life and space, and the keratin queen space god people, and there's just the seeds of life are out there in space, and life will rebuild eventually, but in a different way from the way that we know it on this planet. And anyways, that's it. That's the world. That's what we made. It's got 7 great ages, at least 4 sentient peoples, 5 gods at first, and then very many gods later on, and a whole bunch of biological baloney.
Yep.
How was that for an overview?
Sounds like a good overview, and hopefully we'll get to play this world.
It seems
near
pretty
future.
cool to me. I would like to play in one of these eras. I really like the Age of Floating Cities and the Age of Fracturing. That is a very cool setup narratively. Like, I really like how the world develops in that time.
Yeah, to be clear, I imagine that the floating cities might land on those asteroids if the ground is not on fire anymore.
Yeah, but it is also cool if there's little satellite moons, right? I mean,
yeah, we can do both, right? We can have the satellite cities, and then we can have the land settlements, and we can do the whole space infrastructure thing. But yeah,
our focuses, we did 6 rounds of focuses. Our focuses were the diversity of conscious people in the world, the first empire, extinction events, gods and their rivalries, the ecosystem, and space Magitech.
Yeah, I feel like we could go on a lot in this world. There's a lot of things that I would still like to look into, but yeah.
Yeah, but I had fun.
I had fun too. Thanks for playing with me.
We can do it again sometime, and we can do a completely different world.
Yeah, 3 more episodes.
I still challenge us to a soft magic system.
I almost wanted to do this when we did the palette, but then I thought if we're doing it's supposed to be for an RPG, we need a hard magic system.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah. All right.
You have any plugs?
Do I have any plugs? Oh my god, more plugs. The plugs never end. Let me think. Did I watch something new recently? No. You?
No. All right.
Well, actually, I do have something to plug. A movie that I showed you recently. It's called 9. It's a short animated movie. It's kind of blends the genre of it's steampunk or a diesel punk post-apocalypse. It's about little robots surviving in a world where all humans are gone and the machine reigns supreme. And it's done with a lot of love, clearly a lot of intentionality. It feels like a very auteur movie to me, where it's not perfect, but I love it. I love it very much, and it's also kind of creepy, and it hits a strange middle ground between being for teenagers and being a horror movie and being animated, and there aren't many movies that hit this balance, and I like it a lot.
Yeah, no, I agree. I enjoyed watching 9 with you a lot. It was cool. In a similar vein, I'll plug Nausicaa and the Valley of the Wind. Hey, it's an old Ghibli movie. It's a good movie. It has giant bugs and fungus stuff in it, so if you like this world, you may very well like that world. In fact, I would argue you may like that world better than this one, because this one was made on the fly by 2 people in 3 hours, and that one probably was made over a longer period of time by more people who also were potentially more talented. But with that said, I think that just about does it for our 25th episode. So if you want 26. More, you can find us on YouTube. Is it?
Last time was 25th.
Ah, you're right. Yes, it is our 26th. Sorry. 26th episode. I'm a little tired. You're a little tired. I think the audience can tell. If you want more, you can find us on youtube.com/@a-friendly-orbit, where we actually upload stuff now.
This is entirely your fault. I'm not tired.
You're not tired?
I am tired.
Yeah, okay. Exactly.
Yeah, we're uploading YouTube videos.
We're uploading YouTube. Whee! As well as Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can find us there too. And if you happen to have any astral echoes you want to share with us, you can email us at afriendlyorbit@gmail.com. all one word.
All right, Ceres, I'll talk to you later, and to all of our fellow Voyagers, we will catch you out there, amongst the stars, with the Apex.